Today, on my grandpa's trains, we have on the workbench. Actually, where are the trains? Oh, thank you. This is the unique story of how I came to own my workbench, as well as the trains you will see in this video. In the fall of 2019, I had been searching for a house when I heard that there was one house that was possibly for sale and that the previous owner may have had a few trains, and some of the family needed help sorting through the collection. I agreed to come help, and I was not prepared for what I would see. I expected a couple boxes of Tyco or something all piled in a box, and a box or two of brass track. What was there was something completely different. Imagine this room without these trains. It is dimly lit with one light. The walls are not a cheery white. The wall where the American Flyer layout is lined with storage shelves. Where the HO layout was lined with more shelves. These shelves were stacked with rows and boxes of trains. Here, where I have paint and things stored, was a cabinet and another set of shelves. These shelves were packed full of vintage O-scale trains. These were actually two-rail O-scale trains, of which many were still unfinished kits. Here, above the workbench on the shelf, was more stacks of mostly Athearn Blue Box kits, many unfinished. Below that shelf is the workbench of a master modeler. Lester Manske passed away February of this year, and I would like to give him a bit of honor as a model railroader, showing off a little bit of his collection. Since the late 1950s, Lester Manske was part of the Paper Valley Model Railroad Club in Appleton, Wisconsin. For a time, Lester was also president of the club. In the early days, the club modeled two-rail O-scale. Now the club has moved primarily to HO scale. This explains why there were kits of vintage O-scale, because the club ran two-rail O-scale back then, and now HO. I still have some of his HO scale locomotives. Let's take a look at these now. As I helped sort through the collection, the family agreed to allow me to keep a few of his pieces, and I am glad to preserve these. First, the Milwaukee Road locomotive. This was an unfinished Athearn Blue Box which needed the railings and horn installed, as well as the window panes and the headlight lenses. I took inspiration from the second engine we will see, and I painted the handrails with flat black oil paint, which turned out very nice, I think. This engine was essentially new and runs perfectly pulling freight. Next is the Chicago Northwestern GP35, also an Athearn Blue Box. This one needed only the horn installed and a headlight, and there is also a snowplow detail for this which I did not add because I used the front coupler on this one. Note the painted handrails on this one. Mr. Manske painted them green and the ladder sections white. Notice here these letters, LME. I can make a guess as to what that stood for. Either Lester Manske and Eastern, or Lester Manske and Eunice, the E being for his wife's name. In fact, he had a whole line of LME road name locomotives painted up in a custom fantasy scheme, complete with details and DCC. These were beautifully done models, and many were kept in wooden display crates. Here are a few unfinished F3 diesels that he had worked on. This one, which is still missing the horns, was fully custom painted by hand. The motor in this was brand new and ran so quietly when I first powered it up. Some of the detailing on this one was started but never finished. Alongside it is the B unit, which was to be powered, but I turned it into a dummy unit, and there is also another A dummy unit behind that. Note the hand-painted roof and the hand-painted metal grills, as well as the hand-applied wire railings, silver-painted trucks, The decals are a little bit scratched. This one is numbered number 400. I added the windshield glass and the headlight lenses. I still have yet to add the horns on this, as they are obviously not there. Otherwise, an excellent running model. The B unit is numbered 410. Again, notice the detail painting and the either unfinished roof or attempted weathering on the roof. Again, hand applied wire rail details. I added the porthole glass windows. This HO passenger coach I was also able to preserve, and this one is true vintage. It's unmarked what brand it is, but it might be similar to the other ones I have that look like this. This could be a Herkimer models. This one has wooden details added to the underside and wooden frame, metal rolling trucks, very, very smooth rolling, lighted inside. This door detail appears to be installed upside down where the platform is on the top. That seems a little unusual. And I replaced the K-horn coupler with a Kadee. I'm assuming this was going to become a Chicago Northwestern coach. It will. I do have some decals for it that I have made up, and I'm going to apply those at some point. But besides those, Mr. Manske also had a box of American Flyer. I still have the trains that were in this box, except for the engines. Here is what I found in the box of American Flyer. There were freight cars and a caboose, two of which I have here, the caboose and the 639 box car, which he converted to knuckle couplers in very, very good condition. And there was also this American Flyer circus set. These cars are almost in perfect condition, with the exception of being upgraded to knuckle couplers. All of these have their original trucks and wagons, as well as the animals inside, still intact. A very nice running set. These were kept in a foam, which when I took them out of the box, they were quite dirty, but they cleaned up very nicely. Only piece missing to the circus set is the red locomotive, which sadly has not been located yet. So for now, the next best engine for the circus set is my royal blue locomotive, which I will now take over to the layout and run. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Thank you for watching.